Hello everyone, I am Surrendal the Awesome, and I'm back, and I'm ready to look at some r/malicious compliance. But before I get started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if I can convince you, perhaps this picture of my cat here will convince you. Without further ado, let's get into this. So this first post here says, peed off the manager by following the rules. This was years ago, when I worked at a call center for a cell phone company working customer service. We were an inbound call center for customer service. On the floor, there were several teams of like 10 to 20 people each, with a team lead. There was one team leader who was always trying to overperform to get her manager's favor. They got bonuses for certain things, and the better her team did, the more money she would make. I hated this manager. Let's call her Shirley. Shirley was always trying to get us to do stuff beyond the job description to try to impress her boss. She always insisted on blasting SE music right next to our cubicles to try to get us hyped. Our job was to answer phone calls, and it made it really hard to have a conversation with the customers with this music blasting. She would also be constantly shouting our metrics and just losing it when someone got a sale. It made it very distracting. My job was just simple customer service reps answering phone calls. Shirley was kind of like the main boss's pet. She could get away with doing things differently because she always whipped her team into overperforming and was strict on the team to perform. She is the type of boss that would be staring over your shoulder, breathing down your neck, and watching everything you do and criticizing your every move. This was very patronizing to me as I was always a top performer. I did not need to be babysat and crawled around. I know how to do my job. I was put on her team at one point. She was driving us hard, making us do crazy things to try to keep sales up and improve metrics, micromanaging the living S out of us. I put up with most of it because I needed the job at the time. One day, she pushed me too hard. We were at general customer service, so we handled billing issues, new account services, account maintenance, etc. If you've ever worked in a call center, you know there's a bunch of departments. We didn't handle cancellations because that was the Department of Retention's job. If a customer threatened to cancel/switch providers or started mentioning other providers' details, we were to transfer them immediately to retention. Retention was specially trained to curb cancellations. I was the higher level department than cancellations. They had special deals, discounts, promotions, etc. to work with upset customers looking to cancel them. As customer service, one of our metrics is transfer. Keeps tabs on how many times each employee sent a transfer to another department. Getting too many of these looks bad, but sometimes it is unavoidable. We are trained to own the call to try to prevent transfers and resolve the customer's issue on your call. But sometimes these situations are beyond the scope of your job, and I simply don't have the tools to give them effectively what they want, such as retain customers and curb churns. Shirley wasn't having any of this though. I guess the team's transfers were too high or something, but one call she was plugged into my headset listening as I worked. Customer calls, super irritated and peed off about his billing. I am trying to work the call and review his account and discuss options, but nothing we can give him is satisfactory. He is threatening to go to another provider, which will give him a way better deal and pay off his cancellation fees. At this point, per our manual from the cell phone company itself, I was immediately to transfer this customer to retention in order to try to save his business. They had better deals than I was able to give, and it explicitly states in our manual/rulebook to transfer them as soon as they mention cancellation. Well, where I worked, we did not work directly for the phone company itself. We were part of a third-party company who was contracted to do work for the cell phone company as our client. As such, part of our contract, the cell phone company provides us with an online manual on how to handle situations and what we are supposed to be doing. If we are found not to be compliant with how the client wants us to handle situations, it could result in terms for cancellation of the contract, which is a very big deal because if the site lost the client's contract, it means everyone working at the call center would be out of a job. So this customer is cussing and yelling at me about canceling his services. Shirley mutes the phone and is telling me not to transfer this caller. She wants me to go above and beyond and do another department's job that I wasn't trained in, and didn't have access to their deals or resources. Shirley used to work in retention and was saying she could show me how to handle this and save the customer and not get a transfer. I didn't want to do that because I don't make enough to do department's roles in one. F this. Plus, this customer is cussing me out, and I am done trying. I unmute the call, tell the customer I am transferring him, and transfer him to retention. Shirley loses it, freaks out, storms off into her office managers, determined to write me up on non-compliance. Few hours later, I get a notice that she has written me up, and I get an email to confirm my write-up for refusing to listen to her. F this. I did exactly as the rulebook states. I don't sign that, and she threatens to say that we are going to have a meeting with HR by the end of the day because I didn't sign it. Whatever.jpg. We got into the HR meeting, and they are pulling up the write-up, and we are talking about it. Shirley is in the meeting with us thinking that I'm about to get fired. I always stood up for my rights and would challenge a lot of her questionable tactics she used as a team lead. She was excited, was the day, that she was going to get rid of me for good, or so she thought. Well, HR is reviewing the situation. HR lady, well, in most instances, we review the write-up and compare it to what the policy is. Surely, he was disobedient and needs to be punished. He directly disobeyed my directions and transferred the call when I told him not to. Me. Per our rulebook, provided by the client themselves, it specifically states to immediately transfer the call in this situation. You can find the policy on X, Y, and Z page. HR lady. The client specifically stated to transfer, and this is per policy. Since he followed the policy to a T, we cannot do anything from here on out. And we are dismissing this write-up. Shirley then got to talking to HR about the compliance with the client's wishes and how disregarding this could cost the site their contract and everyone's jobs. Satisfying to say the least, she backed down and stopped messing with me after that until I eventually got transferred into another team. TLDR. My micromanaging leader wanted me to do 2 jobs in one even though it was against our client's direct instructions. She tried to write me up for following the client's policies and not hers. I refused to sign it. She takes me to HR and HR confirmed I followed the policy to the letter. My write-up was dismissed and she got reprimanded by HR and never effed with me again. Yeah, I gotta give this story a 50 out of 50. I mean, that is really good malicious compliance. You did follow the company's policy and got your manager to stop bugging you, so that gives you an A+ in my book. This next post here says, Boss, under no circumstances. Me? Okay. I was working in promotions at a TV station. The GM thought it would be a good idea if I was also the sales assistant. From 8 to 12, I was doing the sales stuff. That was it. From 1 to 5, I was only to work in promotions. No exceptions. It was kinda dumb. I know how to allot my time. Sometimes there was no sales stuff in the morning, and other times there was nothing in promotions in the afternoon. I did what I needed to do in my schedule. Then he started sending me emails almost weekly. Under no circumstances are you to work on promotions before lunch or sales after lunch. Okay, those days with no sales and stuff before noon, I just sat in my office and played games. If a salesperson asked me to write a script or enter an order after lunch, it would sit there until next morning, even if I had no promotions to work on that afternoon. This went on for months until it got back to my GM, and he was all like, I didn't literally mean it like that. Work on what you need to do, blah blah blah. Guess under no circumstances means something completely different to him. I didn't last too much longer. I was put in charge of production and promotions with zero help. I asked the GM for a raise, and he told me that low pay was job security. He didn't even want to give me the Creative Services Director title. I ordered new business cards with that title anyways, and he eventually caved. I knew my time there was done. You get what you pay for. I was sent to Vegas for the yearly promotional convention, blew off the whole convention and partied my A off while charging it all to the station. Went to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, saw Jerry Seinfeld, saw Love, charged it all with tons of booze to the station. Made it a day and a half back before getting fired. Had the sales guy whine to the GM that I was so busy I wouldn't drop everything to the Kissay. Told him to go F himself. Later on that day, I was brought to the GM's office with the sales guy to apologize. Kinda lost it and told them both to go F themselves. Fired the next morning. Best thing that ever happened to me, because now I'm self-employed and make more than double what I made at the station, with no Kissay, and F office life. I'm surprised they're still on the air. I'm gonna give this here 50 out of 50. I mean, this was a really great story, and OP here really showed the GM by basically following rules in wording, just not quite in spirit. I think with that, that's going to do it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.